Well, hi, and welcome back. Now, today's episode is definitely something of a treat. I've spoken before about a bunch of MOFI One-Step Ultradiscs, and I've spoken about a couple of Analogue Productions Ultra Tapes. So today we have a face-off between Analogue Productions Ultra Tape and Mobile Fidelity Sound Lab One-Step Ultra Disc. And I thought I'd start off by I'd set the scene by listening to a digital copy, and in this case I'm streaming from Tidal and via Rune, running on a Mac Mini, bestowed with several CAD ground controls, CAD USB cable 2, feeding into my reference DAC, which is the CAD 1543 Mark II. So, what album, you might be wondering, or if you know both companies' catalogues, you'll probably know. So here we are. The album in question is Muddy Waters' 1964 masterpiece, Folk Singer, originally released on Chess Records. So, if we start off, I'll just talk briefly about the digital version. Now, I ought to add in here about digital. I listened, listening on Tidal, I listened to both the Master 24192 FLAC and the box standard 1644.1 FLAC. And whilst the regular 44.1 FLAC does get a little bit overloaded at times, I think on Muddy's vocal particularly, and will have you reaching for the volume control to turn it down, which is never a good sign. It does sound noticeably more presence than the master version. I couldn't say which is better because they both have pros and cons. And I don't have an MQA DAC, which is worth noting. But so theoretically, I won't be getting the best out of the master version. But I will, later on in this, I will give relative scores for the three different formats. And the two different versions on Tidal, frankly, I'm going to give the same score. They sound different, very different. There's no way you wouldn't be able to tell the difference. But which one you prefer, that's arguable. Anyway, let's go to the vinyl. And here we are with the vinyl copy. So it's the Mobile Fidelity Sound Lab Ultradisc one-step pressing of obviously Muddy Waters' Folk Singer. Now the turntable in question is a Clearaudio master reference, AMG wood. It does have the CMB ceramic magnetic bearing upgrade as well. The Clearaudio master reference must run with the accurate power generator, which is a mains regenerator power supply for it. And the arm is the Glanz MH124S tone arm. I have an Autophon LH8000 head shell, and the Miyajima Kansui cartridge. The turntable sits on a Clearaudio Everest stand. I'm using a Clearaudio statement clamp. And the phono stage, which is of course critical to LP listening, is Aesthetix IO Eclipse, which is a 2-box phono stage, all valve gain all the way. There's 24 valves or tubes if you're across the pond, 24 tubes between the phono stage and the power supply. And it's finest phono stage I've heard, to be perfectly honest. So here we have the Mobile Fidelity Ultradisc one-step pressing. Absolutely beautiful pressings. I've mentioned before. Let me just open the box up, show you what you get. So we've got plenty of good quality foam packing. 2 foam packing in the tray of the box too. Because it's a 45 RPM album, you get two LPs, and that's a sheet describing the one-step process, and that's a reproduction of the original cover, and a rather nice photo from the session. Now, you can see there's some more really nice photos. Interestingly, in here, I do note it credits Tim de Paravicini, the late Tim de Paravicini, who's a dear friend and a significant help and consultant to many of these companies that are producing sort of the highest quality audio, as he did with recording studios worldwide, really. Anyway, what you get with the MOFI is 2 LPs pressed on beautiful vinyl. You get an extra stiffener inside. You get these beautiful original master sleeves, and I mean, if you look at this, you can kind of, I don't know if you can see me through there. I'm sure if I hold up a white piece of paper behind, you'll see, or card. But these are actually translucent. They're totally pure vinyl. Excuse that plane going over at the moment. And yeah, I mean, right, so how does this sound? Well, I mean, right from the start, there is way more space than either of the digital versions. More space, more colour, much more natural timbre. There's just much more. The drums have more weight. The bass has real depth. The guitars have body. You can virtually see these in space. And the groove of the record flows far more naturally. And the dynamic range is better. And really, between this and a digital version, the difference is astonishing. This is as easily as good as any of the MOFI Ultradiscs I've heard. I mean, it is a superbly sparse, stripped back recording. It's really beautiful. It'll knock you out. It's as good as any MOFI Ultradisc I've heard. I'd say the biggest gain in this over digital is in the weight and the depth and the body of the sound. It just sounds every element, the voices, the bass, the drums, the guitars. They sound more solid, more natural, and more real. And the whole timing, the way the music flows, it flows better too. And so I'd really say if you wanted to, if you like this music, then if you can play vinyl, buy this. It's as simple as that. It's stunningly good. It's a virtuoso example of the recorded art, I would say. If you want to demonstrate to someone the superiority of analog over digital, this will, I don't think anyone could listen to a comparison between this and the digital file or CD or whatever and not be absolutely blown away. It's a truly phenomenal listening experience. So there we go. The Mobile Fidelity SoundLab Ultradisc one-step pressing of Muddy Waters Folk Singer. And now finally, we'll listen to the tape. So this is the Analogue Productions Ultra Tape, which is a one-to-one copy of an original master tape. And as such, really is the closest you can get to the original source. Now, obviously, I've listed the equipment we're listening on because we're listening to 3 different formats. The sources, the hi-fi sources, source components are different. So here we are. This is my tape source, which is a Studer A812 recorder reproducer. It's known as. It's obviously a studio master recorder, really. And this is all perfectly restored back to original specification. And I'm using it with an RX Reels carbon fiber take-up reel, which I think are really fabulous. They're just absolutely flat. And as we can see here, is playing at 15 IPS, CCIR EQ, and underneath this flap here, you've got various settings to set the thing up. As you can see, it's a very beautiful machine. And there we have it. The Analogue Productions Ultra Tape playing on my Studer A812. And now finally here we are with the tape. So this really is, should be and is, frankly, spoiler alert, the ultimate Analogue Productions Ultra Tape. They are one-to-one copies of master tapes. I don't know whether it's the actual original master tape or a safety master or early production master. I honestly don't know that, but frankly, I don't think it really matters. What you get for your money is you get two reels, and you can see in here reel A and reel B. They are it's recorded onto Recording the Masters SM900, which is their top of the range mastering tape. In my opinion, it's the best tape you can get. It is only my opinion. I know there are fans of ATR, and there's another brand, Capture, based in Australia, I believe, making tape. But the tape stock is fantastic. And these are one-to-one copies of the reels of the original master. So I say what you get one tape here. There's the second tape, which will be side B of the original album. On the second tape, I'll just get in here, show you this tape B, and some documentation. Is frankly very similar, very similar. Interestingly enough, to what you get with the mobile fidelity. Very similar indeed. Now, let me just pop that back in here for now. So, the listening. Let me tell you about this. I mean, really, my notes, oh my God, that's what I wrote. Again, everything is more solid. And it really is. There's a very obvious difference between this and the vinyl. And the vinyl, the mobile fidelity Ultradisc is a seriously impressive piece of vinyl. But this again is better still. I mean, the voice in particular, I would say, is the main thing you notice. It's even clearer, and it's even more dynamic, even more so than the vinyl could manage. The bass and drums are more evenly weighted, I would say, and the stereo effect. Again, that is supremely impressive. The soundstage is far better defined even than the vinyl. When I said on vinyl, you can kind of almost see it. On vinyl, it sort of begins to become like a solid three-dimensional thing, whereas on tape, it's kind of laser etched into the space in front of you. But not just flat laser etched. I've discussed and reviewed a few things where, particularly in digital, actually, you can get sort of layering of sounds that is, incredibly defined. But each layer is very flat. It's almost like it's just been laser etched out of brass or something. There's no, whereas with the tape, the body of all of the instruments. The body of the singer it's not just a flat image. It's a real, you can hear around his head, around behind him, kind of thing. And so you've got the musicians just literally sat there right in front of you. The guitar rhythms are more structured. The structure of the whole structure of the music, the architecture, if you like, it's not just better defined than on the vinyl, which is way better defined than on CD or in digital. On tape it's not just better defined. It's not really a way of describing it. It just is. It's simply there. It makes sense. It makes intuitive sense. You sense the music and the music makes sense. You just experience its being. You don't have to think about it. You don't have to work in any way to understand what's going on. It just is. And so just, to go through the listening of the album, I mean, as we go through track by track, the timbre and the colour of every element in the recording, the voice, the guitars, it's so much more real, the weight, the body, the groove, where, Good Morning Little Schoolgirl, or Good Morning Schoolgirl rather, the groove has got real swagger. It just plays better. It plays better than the vinyl and streets ahead of the digital. The colour or the timbral differences between the two guitars. It's so real. It's palpable. And one thing, you're listening to this. It's so. Muddy Waters. It's so real in front of you. You can hear when he's singing into the mic. You can hear when he's leaning back. You can hear when he's singing to the side, if the mic's here, if you like. You're just intuitively aware of him in the space. And it's almost spooky hearing someone that obviously passed away, 40 years ago, maybe? Something like that. So, yeah, the tape, overall, it just sounds more real than the vinyl. It never sounds stretched. In comparison, the vinyl sounds very, very slightly like it's being pushed to its limits. And it is an astonishing recording. The digital in comparison sounds nothing like it. It's all sort of... let's get this back up as we're sort of wrapping up and discussing the differences. But so... yeah, the digital is kind of just like sort of pyrotechnics. It's all flash, It's sort of impressive. It's on the surface. It's really impressive. It's really clear. And this is astonishing recording. So don't not buy the CD because of what I'm saying. But the difference between the CD and this is massive. And the difference actually between this and this is not as big as the difference between this and the CD. Anyway, one more thing I'm going to say about the tape, which I didn't know until I got to the end of side 2, is there are actually 2 extra tracks on there, which I just wasn't expecting at all, because it doesn't list them on the box, in the sleeve notes. There's 2 tracks, The Same Thing and You Can't Lose What You Ain't Never Had, which are the A and B sides of an early 1964 single. So what a brilliant bonus to have. So anyway, just to give you a kind of, I know this is kind of quite a difficult and fairly abstract thing to do, but I'm going to try and give these scores. So on sound quality grounds, I'm going to give the digital versions 5 out of 10. Now, that might seem really low, for something I'm describing as a great recording, and it is a really great recording. So if all you can play is digital, go out and buy it. If you don't know the albums, have a listen to the digital on. Just stream it, have a listen. I'm sure you'll actually like it. It's so stripped to the bones, musically, emotionally. It's just fabulous stuff. But anyway, let's give the score. So digital, I'm going to give 5 out of 10. The Mobile Fidelity One-Step Ultradisc, I'm going to give 8.5 out of 10. So that's you know, that's quite a jump up. That's you know, an increase of 3.5 on the denier scale here, which I've just made up off the top of my head. So it's fairly abstract and meaningless. But anyway, the vinyl I'm going to give 8.5 out of 10, and the tape, the Analogue Productions Ultra Tape, I'm going to give 10 out of 10. First thing, you know, the first and most important thing to mention is that there is nothing better than this, the Analogue Productions Ultra Tape. If you can play 2-track, 1/4 inch, 15 IPS, CCIR tape, this will do it. And just, I think one thing to sum up, in each instance, as I was going from the digital formats up through to the mobile fidelity, and then the ultra disc, and then the ultra tape, one thing that I kind of noticed was how the reality of the reality of the band being in the room changed. The digital version sounds kind of just like that. The band is in the room. It sounds etched, crisp, but lacking body. With vinyl, it sounded more real, much more so. They really do sound in the room. But on tape, and this is the thing that gets me, it's just intuitively obvious. You're just aware of it. You don't have to listen hard. This is just how it is, how your brain picks it up. But they're not in your room, not at all. You're in theirs, and you hear the difference, and you're very aware of that. Even when there's no music playing, you can just sense it, the ambience of its chords. You're in their room, you're in the studio, and the band is right there, just a few feet in front of you. This sounds like they're in the room. This sounds like you're in their room. It's kind of a fundamental difference if you think about it. It brings you far closer to the performance, far closer to the actual happening that was recorded. And for me, that's what it's all about, really. It's transporting yourself to another time and another place when these magnificent, incredible musical pieces of art, if you like, magnificent achievements, when they were created, and you will be transported right back to that space and appreciate that happening almost firsthand. And I think really that's let me just check my notes, but I think that's pretty much yeah, all I've got to say. So I'll just end. So I'd like to point out I've got my tape. I got my tape. I bought direct from Acoustic Sounds, and I will put a link to that in the description below. And my Ultra Disc I got from Brook Audio again, which I'll put a link in the description below. So I will say thank you very much for watching. Once again, thank you very, very, very much to everyone who's subscribed to the channel. It was with some delight that I passed the 500 subscriber mark. Got my little email from YouTube, and like, bloody hell, that's incredible. So thank you to every single one of you. If you do like the video, please like it. If you haven't subscribed all yet, please do hit the subscribe button. I hope you stay well, and I'll look forward to be back with you soon with another record or tape or something review or unboxing or reaction or whatever. Anyway, thank you very, very much indeed, and I will see you all soon. Goodbye.